I'm
Hello.
not going to. Sorry.
Hello, and welcome to the Modern Romantic Podcast, where we celebrate and inspire romanticism through passionate people doing incredible things. Hi, I'm feeling very demure, very mindful. I'm Trey, and shaking her head at me, as always, to my life choices is Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi. Well, you have some life choices, and you solidly make them, and I applaud that. I don't know about this particular one, but demure, yes.
I
I'm gonna
appreciate
jump
that.
on this trend.
Thank you. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for sharing that honesty with me.
I'm here to support you.
I love it. Um, so, David, I do kind of want to ask, you got in trouble for doing art in school? Like, why?
Well, I mean, the English teacher doesn't love the art kid who doesn't want to write. So it's the it's the classes that are not it's not the art class time, which when I grew up, they were very distinguished classes, which now I think they are much more intertwined, which is quite awesome. I think math and art could be great together. Even writing and art could be great together. But as a child, English class was English and math class was math, and I would still have my little. So I had a 18 by 24 drawing pad. It was like, um, if you've seen those ones, it's got the little sketched hand design on the logo. But I flipped the cover around, taped the whole thing with duct tape, and basically made a portfolio pocket in the back where I could do my drawings and then tear them off and stick them in. And I just carried that thing around with me everywhere I went.
Oh,
Oh,
brilliant.
that's
So that
fantastic.
was definitely the kid David Kersey.
Do you still have it?
It exists. I think
Oh.
it's in an attic at my mom's. I
Oh,
think.
cool.
Yeah.
That would be quite a find to go back and look at through some of those.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I've gone through them numerous times over the years and decided what was really worth it and what was really not, and kept some gems from the past. But um, I wonder if the actual portfolio survived. Actually, I think I've seen it a few times over the years, but I do not have it in my possession.
Can I ask where did you start out? Like, was it paints? Was it mixed mediums? Was it oil paints? Like, what did you start out with?
Yeah, so I started with well, graphite and charcoal. So I actually used to do portrait drawings of kids at school. I would charge
Mhm.
$5 for it. And I mean, truth be told, I actually mostly found the girls that I had a crush on and said, hey, I'll do a portrait of you.
Sneaky.
Uh-huh.
Sneaky.
Uh-huh. I
So,
see you.
like it was like, I guess, my only way of saying it out loud, but not really.
Yeah, well, what a great way to break the ice.
Yeah, I don't know that it never really actually materialized anything, but, we were like 7 or 8.
Sure.
It was the crush stage of life.
Right. That's so great.
Yeah. So, did a lot of those actually. Well, not a lot of those. There were only a few.
So, all those girls out there, if you were 7 or 8 years old and had some kid named David want to paint your portrait, it could be that he had a crush on you.
They had to have known, right?
I don't know. I think kids that age are just clueless.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
yeah.
Kids this
But
age are
anyway,
clueless too.
yeah, I had a very influential art teacher too who taught portraits too, so really worked with us on that and just kind of fell in love with doing that. Kind of see behind me, I'm still kind of into doing
Oh
portraits.
yeah.
So that's a Tom Petty
Yeah.
that did it's 4 by 5 feet big acrylic painting,
Wow. I
very
love
large.
that.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It's kind of it was done a couple years ago, but it's still like sort of my interest right now to do these large portraits of. Actually, I had an idea. It hasn't come to be, but it was to do a series of basically musicians or famous people who died of opioid addiction, and then do a show and try to raise money for opioid addiction through these paintings. So maybe I'll have a Prince in the other room.
Oh yeah.
And so, they're still trying to figure out who the next couple are.
That's a cool idea, though. I could see that being a kind of an interesting. It's like fascinating, but also kind of sobering as well. But for a great cause.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's a horrific situation. So see if it can actually have a little bit of meaning behind the choices to make the paintings.
I bet there's a lot of celebrities out there. People don't know that that's how they died.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. I think the ones that I was picking, people definitely know.
Right.
But the first one I did, actually, not someone who died of opioid addiction, who's still alive, is a Willie Nelson.
Oh.
Who I was actually commissioned some friends to do that one. That kind of started the 4x5 foot portrait idea. So you need a big wall for them, but they're pretty fun, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I love it. I love the idea of a large piece like that.
Yeah, I like to work that size. But today I actually have there's parts of the prints, that little pieces that I look at and I'm like, I need to finish that little section there, and it's been like 2 years since I touched that painting.
I can't relate to that. No, I can't relate to that.
Well, I mean, for an artist, or for the people out there that are artists, it's like, for me, it's the effort to get the actual brush to the canvas is like, I mean, it is exhausting and such an actual struggle. If I don't know what that first 15 strokes are, I mean, it's tough.
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Oh. So in those moments, if you don't know what the first 15 strokes are, what do you do to figure out what those first 15 strokes are?
Good question.
I think for me, it would be like, I just find a spot that's I still need to work on, and I have to just force myself to start making the first strokes. And then 2 hours has gone by and I didn't even know what happened. So like, if I can get through 15, 20 strokes and getting the paints out and the water set up and all the things that I need to paint it, time is just gone. I mean, I get so lost in it, trying to solve the problems of shaping it to be whatever I'm interested in it being, So but just that part between like not doing anything at all on it to getting that first couple brush strokes is, I don't think it's like unknown to artists out there how difficult that is.
Starting, yeah.
Or even continuing,
right. Finishing, right.
Finishing too, yeah. So, so many distractions that we have, and we've actually recently started to go through the artist way.
Oh yeah.
To try to reinvigorate that, like, get over that way faster moment of like putting that paintbrush on this canvas the first time. But it's interesting. I mean, like, you introduced me as a digital artist, and like we're talking about traditional painting, like definitely is where it all started for me. I think as a high school kid, I wanted to be a painter. Probably wanted to be a fine artist. That's what I thought I wanted to be. But I also sort of had this weird mind of understanding that life is very difficult. And then the movie Toy Story came out, and I was like, that is so cool. And I sort of like put the two and two together, that like art and technology, I could have a artist career through that. And I was at the very beginning of that. Like my science teacher, when I was in, ninth, 10th grade, got 3 Macintosh computers into our classroom.
Oh.
And it was like, like, let's go mess around. And luckily enough, had a really good friend whose mom taught computer classes at a private school. And he happened to be going to the public school, which is kind of, well, because the private school ended at 8th grade. So he came to the public school, and he was just a computer whiz and just pulled me in, and I was the art kid, and we just started making cool stuff together.
That's awesome.
And that was like the moment I was like, this is what I want to do for a career. And I applied to the Savannah College of Art and Design. It was the only school I applied to. I got in. We went to visit, and they had a soccer team, which was like an odd thing for art schools to have sports.
Yeah.
And I played high school soccer, and I tried out for the soccer team and made the team, and just never looked. I didn't even look at another school. I just went to that one.
That's awesome. What a great
yeah.
success story for that. Yeah.
Yeah, for like, don't send 50 resumes out to 50 colleges. Just pick one and go. Pick a good one, right? I guess it was in the top 3 art schools in the country. So at the time, it was a great art school to go to, and got to play soccer, and it was great, and met great people. And I got a bachelor's of fine arts with a specialization in computer animation.
Very cool.
It was quite cool.
A good fit.
It was neat. I met some great people and just had a great time in college. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. We know about some of your work, like from about the mid 2000s up until now. Were there any projects that you worked on during your time at SCAD that you look fondly back on, or that might be published for us to go view?
No.
No hesitation.
No, not at all. And that I say to, I used, as I briefly mentioned earlier, that I've been in Northwest Arkansas at one point in time, and was starting a school for animation there and working on trying to build it there. And over the years, I talked to so many students out there and so many kids, and I just, at that time I did show them the work from college, and that, it exists on a few demo reels ago that I could probably dig up, but I guess it was okay for its time. Like, it was just so we were. I mean, my professor for final art 3D was like amazed by what we could do with the computer. He had no idea. Like, wow. He didn't know how to use it. Like, at that time, it was so new of a degree that me and the kids in the lab and the ones, like a few of us, created our own network of computers at one of our friends' houses and had our computers connected. And I learned from them, and they learned from me, and we learned together how to make cool stuff. But I mean, it's bad. But it was the skill sets. It was like the software skill sets that got us at that time to the next level, which now you definitely, and you have the resources now to create some pretty incredible stuff coming out of college. But at that time, we were just, and there were still, I think, definitely the kids that just excelled. I was probably, middle upper skill set at that time. I could pick up stuff real fast. That was probably what the two things that I tell the kids all the time, because I came back to Northwest Arkansas to tell kids that you can be born in Arkansas and you can go work in Hollywood. You can go work on Frozen. That was like the whole point of it all, was like, you don't have to be, there's nothing exceptional about the people. They're from all over the place, and yes, they're exceptional people, but they aren't, it's not, you don't have to be a Hollywood person. You can be from anywhere, and you can gain the skill sets, and you can go be successful. And so, I talked about that a lot, and I would tell them sometimes in those in the talks that I would do that I could learn fast, and I was pretty good, and then I was fun to be around. Mm-hmm. Like that was, my when I got hired for my first major movie at Sony Pictures at Imageworks, my boss at the time, when my mom came to visit, she used to he would make fun of me because he was like, Kersey was like a car salesman in there. And like, because I had my demo reel up there, and I was like, these are the skills I have, and this is what I can do. And he was like, we just wanted to see if you were cool. Not like the cool guy, but like, were you going to be fun to be? Were you going to be somebody that 25 of us could hang out with every day and work on stuff? And, we knew you had the basic software skills, but we just wanted to see if you were going to be fun. And so like, I think that's just something that I was fortunate to grow up having. Just, I think maybe growing up in a big family, or just, kind of a more social aspect of who I am, that helped a lot for me to get to be successful in my career in Hollywood.
And I think that's more important than a lot of people think. I believe anyway. You can work a lot of jobs, but if the people you're working with are miserable to be around, it doesn't matter what the job is. It's an awful job.
And I think I was just honestly fortunate too, because it doesn't come easy to everybody, right? To get in a group of people and to mesh and meld. And maybe I think I went to like summer camps as a kid, and I, played soccer on a team, and like, I just, I was a part of a team a lot. And that's something I never really thought about, but that really, being a part of a sports team as a child totally goes up to being a part of a corporate team or a job team. It's all sort of the same space, and being able to talk about things and come to an agreement and like communicate and give your feedback and all. That was one of the biggest pieces that Sony and Disney would ask for, is that you had an opinion about what you were creating, even though I was more of like a cog in the wheel. Like being a cloth and hair simulation artist for my years at Sony, and then a look development artist at Disney, that most of the direction came from down to me. I wasn't the leading director of like the things I do, but when it came to me, I could do I could take it and take the information and make something in the space. And a lot of times they would be like, well, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And you would go make it, trying to envision what they were thinking. And if you could hit the things that they were wanting you to hit, then you stuck around, honestly. And I was fortunate to get to do that for almost 15 years.
Yeah, like how cool that you got to be in such a collaborative space with people that have the impression of being, I will say this, because this is the only way I know how, slightly dictatorially, where the information would come down, and it would be, this is my vision, this is what you got to do. But it's so nice and refreshing to hear that it was like, this is what I would like to do, and it was more of a collaborative experience.
It was. It really honestly was. And, I think there were definitely, some artists out there have large egos. I don't feel like I've really ever had that as an artist. So some people would have a little trouble not really being able to take the reins. I was able to kind of slide right in there and be the, play the field right where it needed to be, and take the feedback and give my input, and kind of know where you are in that at that time. That this is my job. Like this is my job to do this specific thing, and I'm going to do it and do it the best I can. and it was cool. I mean, it was totally cool. I got to work on some just awesome films with some incredibly talented people, and just look around all the time and be like, why am I here? How am I here? Kind of thing, you know. So
have you ever watched from beginning to end any of those projects you've worked on?
what do you mean by beginning to end? Like, we actually watched
Like if
the
you
movie?
watched all of Frozen, yeah. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
okay.
oh yeah, yes. So obviously we always watch it. There's sort of a crew rap party, so we go watch it then. But we
Okay.
watch it about 6 or 7 times during the process of making it. And then, like,
Okay.
I've watched, a number of projects just being with friends and family and kids. That friends that have kids or family that have kids, I've watched my projects with them, which is just so fun. It's just a fun part of it.
Yeah. How
Um,
nice.
yeah,
I'm glad you're able to do that. Some people can't go back and look at their own whatever, and I feel like I'm always happy when someone can.
yeah. It's the way that hair moved in that 7 frames. Like, it doesn't get to me.
I was gonna ask, do you have like a quintessential moment in a project you've done where if you go back and watch it, or if it was playing again, there's this one moment that for you it's like the chef's kiss, like that was amazing. Do you have
I
few frames like that, or a section of a
I mean, it was pretty cool to work on Santa Claus's beard in the Polar
yeah?
Express, and like Smokey's beard when they're like climbing on it on the in the edge of the train. Like, that was definitely some real cool stuff there. And I think also, like, the Fungin Dungeon in Wreck It Ralph, like the sugar cube dungeon, I did that, and that was like just a really neat thing to do. I did the materials. All I did was make it look like sugar cubes. That was
Okay.
my job, and make the little bed thing look like I think it's some kind of crisp candy bar type
Mm.
thing. And yeah, to kind of see that stuff, I got to do a lot of really fun stuff in Wreck It Ralph that when I watched that movie, it's like, oh, I remember doing that, and that was neat. So I think those are some of the specific things I remember of stuff that I got to do. And then there are characters that I did the hair grooms on for some movies that are pretty cool, like Wealthau and Beowulf is a really cool long hair character, and some of the longer haired characters in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And Miguel's hairstyle, this like super sleek like guy with just the cut, that was a fun one. That was really a fun one to do. So those are some of the things that I get to look back on and see. So yeah.
That's cool. I will not see those the same now, going back and watching them. That's pretty great.
Yeah, it's definitely neat. But when you know the entire process of how it's all made, and people do ask me that all the time, does it take away from it? And honestly, it doesn't. It really doesn't, because it's um, just how incredible the lighting and compositing teams are, and like from where I do it and then where it ends up on the screen, it just like takes this. It goes to another level, and it's like in the environment, and it's doing what it's supposed to do, and
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
seeing it there is just really neat. Like that. That's why I think that I can totally watch those after working on it, because it's almost in a different state of art when it
Sure.
gets all the way through the pipeline. Yeah. So.
That makes sense. Um, for me, I have sometimes difficulty going to see like shows, whether it be theater or movies, without being able to like um, turn off my brain when it comes to like critiques of like, well, that was a choice. So it happens. Do you find yourself doing the same thing when you go watch other animation projects, or are you able to kind of turn that off and enjoy it for whatever the final product was?
No, I think for sure. I think all of us sort of have that like kind of critique stage as an artist. We just see it. So, I mean, I think that, oh yeah, internally I've got an opinion on it, like, of just whatever style they chose to do, of sort of having a thought on whether I felt like they succeeded with that or not, and how I might maybe, I guess, internally do it differently. But, and that is so true now with so many different kind of animated styles that are out there. And obviously we're kind of all gravitating towards that Spider-Man mixed, it's almost mixed media meets animation. It's just super cool. So when you see something that's almost on the par of Toy Story 1, you're like, man, maybe they could have done a little bit more there. But, and it's wild because it's like all the way down to like a YouTube cartoon it's fully animated, which would have cost Pixar $50 million to do in 2001. And now it's just like on a YouTube channel. So like, I'm not, there's a reason, there's an audience, I think, for all those different levels. So for me, I guess, critique it if I really needed to, but I kind of understand its place.
I think that's a good perspective to have, of recognizing that.
Yeah.
There's also a question, and feel free to like not answer this if you don't want to, but why are you laughing, Emily?
Because she knows what it is. I don't know.
That was very demure of you, Trey.
Very mindful. So because you've worked in both like 2D as well as like 3D works of art, whether it be painting or working with technology to create some type of animation.
Sure.
Sometimes I talk to people who are very turned off by 3D animation. And so from your perspective, how do you normally sell people on accepting 3D animation as a viable art form?
Wow.
Interesting. I think that's just so, I feel like the people that are having that kind of opinion don't really understand what goes into making the art, because I mean, under the hood, Spider-Verse is all 3D. Like if you go to the test scenes that we watched in the beginning, they look like Toy Story 1. Then there's just some incredible artists that put the effects on top of that make that final image just look so cool. And that is a combination of basically how amazing 2D art is and how amazing 3D art is. So I feel like it's sort of like a very, I don't know how to put it, just like a low level opinion if you're just super anti a certain art form purely based on its technology of being made. I mean, it was groundbreaking when it was originally, and I actually, like, on that, I also feel a lot for the people that have had to like watch 2D animation kind of die, like, Princess and the Frog, like this original hand-drawn 2D animation, which is very beautiful. And I loved it as a kid. And then, I mean, but anime projects are still really keeping it alive. So I think that it has a spot. I just, from a studio's perspective, it just, the expense of creating it nowadays doesn't match up with what they can do, I think, with other projects. So I can, I guess, empathize with the ones that have seen 2D animation die, from a Lion King, traditional Snow White, like traditional animation sense. But I wouldn't say you blame another technology for that. I feel like you kind of got to blame the users out there who just like one over the other. I mean, that's just unfortunately how it played out. I do think it has its place, and it's sort of getting mixed mashed now together, and maybe a new fully 2D animated movie will. But also, you also run up against the exact same concept that you do with Toy Story 1's look of 3D animation and what 3D animation looks like now. You couldn't make a 2D animation that looks like 2D animation in the 90s because people would just, it's like not advanced in a way that's appealing to the viewer. I think you have to really kill it with the story.
Yeah. Which I love that answer of you really have to kill it with the story. There are projects I look at where I'm initially turned off by whatever the character design is, but then I get so swept up into the story that they're telling that I kind of overlook some of that and I go, oh, that's why they're okay, I get it.
Yeah. That's totally true. Yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing that we have technology to do, I mean, pretty much anything we want now from in that space. I mean, if you just look at all the computer technology that's used in regular movies to create things that we couldn't create before that look so realistic and look like they're there and all of that. I mean, we couldn't make a lot of the movies that we make now without it. And tell some historically amazing stories to new amazing stories.
Sure.
Yeah.
Some of the projects, just to mention, we have talked about a little bit that you've worked on the Polar Express, which is one of my personal favorites.
Cool.
Let's see. You've worked on Tangled. You've worked on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. You've worked on, oh gosh, I had a list here.
The little one called Frozen.
The little thing, that little project called
Frozen Fever. Oh, you're talking about actual Frozen. Yes, that small film that we were like had no idea what was going to happen. I mean, I thought it was honestly, like, I worked on it. I thought it was good. It was cool. It was fine. I was like 33 at the time, and I was like, this is fun. Yeah, cool. And then,
Yeah.
let it go. Happened. Kids across America started singing "Let It Go." Mm-hmm. But it was actually a very empowering animated movie. I thought that was incredible. I thought it was great storytelling. So, that was just cool. Like, to come in on Monday morning and they're having a champagne toast at 9 a.m. and you get to hold the Oscar, like that's
really cool. Yeah.
Definitely so cool. It's so funny. People all the time like, so do you have it at home? And I'm like, no, Disney was just not. They were like, sorry, bud, you were going to have to keep it here. Yeah. So sometimes I feel like I should just like order a little plastic one and like put it over there so I can like have it here at the house. But I did hold it. They are heavy. That was fun. Took the photo.
Oh, good.
And then we went back to work. Like, I mean, it was, there were the people though that were much higher than me that got to go to the after parties and they were the ones that were not wanting to have that champagne on Monday morning.
They were not feeling so animated.
They were probably like, we don't need to have this. We can go back home. So, no, it was fun. It was cool.
That's wonderful. I think at the time, if I recall, it was nice to have a fresh story from Disney that was with super catchy music, and the story that it was so well done, and there was such lovable characters in there. I felt like the timing was prime for that. Like it was, at least in my world, it felt like, all right, it's time to have a new story that's something different. And I was really kind of thrilled when it got so big. I didn't love hearing the haters, and I didn't even see it right away, but I always thought, there's people out there like, Frozen, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm one that I can watch something and just enjoy it for what it is. So I don't really need to hate on anything like that, but I just felt like it was time, and it worked so well. And now there's like Frozen 2 and all kinds of offshoots of that.
Yeah. I did work on Frozen Fever, the little short.
Okay.
Yeah. That was kind of a fun little project. We were actually testing technology that Disney implemented later on in the studio during that time, which was fun. It's cool to be a part of those teams.
Yeah. And the ripples from that are still like, I know people whose cats and dogs are named Elsa and Olaf, and
my mom has a dog named Elsa.
Oh, perfect.
Really?
Still today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's huge. When it's in people's homes in such a personal way, you've done an amazing job.
Yeah. It definitely had nothing to do with the fact that her son worked on it. She just named it Elsa. No, I have no idea, honestly.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
We're going to interview her next week, actually, and we'll ask her.
She would probably be happy to come on and talk about me for an hour.
That's what we should do. We're going to branch off and do like under the umbrella of Modern Romantic, we'll do a separate podcast. It'll be like, we're going to talk to the people close to David Kersey. And then maybe not the whole like show, like one episode will be devoted to that. And then we'll have others like, we're going to talk to the people that are close to, I don't know. There's probably people we don't want to talk to.
Yeah.
What are people saying about David Kersey? All right, your next door neighbor feels this way about how you mow the lawn.
Ooh. That's some like good data right there.
For you as an artist, I know you talked about earlier where you would collaborate with to create a particular vision. But when you are like doing your own work, I'm curious about where your inspiration comes from. Is it other artists? Is it books that you read? Where does that come from?
Yeah, I mean, I think it always comes from sort of what you're seeing, right? Like what you've seen and what you see out there. And then I think it just really needs to come from like something that you're interested in. Like for me, like, I'm also a Tom Petty fan, but I was interested in this idea of painting these big portraits, and then obviously the opioid thing sort of like got bolted onto that. But it's like, I feel like it's really like what you're seeing out there that sort of drives you to want to like, I want to make something like that. Like it's always the story of how there's like no original art ever, right? We've read about that and seen the documentaries on, just the history of how art has been replicated. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing unless people are just, really ripping people off. But like, you got to get your inspiration from other art. And so that's, I think for me, mostly where it comes from, like a style that I see that I might want to like try out or wish that I could do that style. Usually is more where I'm in, I wish I could be that good or make something like that. I'm a big like Renaissance art fan. Those are like, I would like to paint like Rembrandt and stuff like that. So that's, I think, where I get most of my inspiration is if I were to just totally dedicate my life to painting, I would try to paint like that era.
Cool.
I'm like I'm not an abstract painter. I'm sort of more of a realist painter. And I would love to bring some of the Dali kind of like mixture of like surrealistic, but with a like he did with a more kind of realized rendering of the things that he imagined. I just don't have the stomach, I think, for all the drugs that he did. So like, I don't know that I'll ever get there.
No, that's a good thing.
Yes, it is a good thing. Mom, that's a good thing. No, it's just not my thing, so, but yeah, I think that's sort of, I just dig into, I tell people too, like that students that would ask, like, how do I decide what to do? And, I tell them all the time is just to start writing down the things that you're interested in. It could be riding your bike or fishing or running around the playground if I'm talking to the young kids, you know, like, what do you like? What do you like? Write down the things you like, and then it'll start morphing into an idea of something that you want to create. And so, and then you look around for the inspiration of like, ooh, I want it to look like that or look like this. So now the access to inspiration is insane with the number of artists you can follow in social spaces. And so, and now it's just evolving, you know, with computer technology meets traditional art meets AI and everything. It's so fast. I'm like, I can't keep up with it. So,
And
but yeah.
Speaking of kids, tell us about Nerdies.
Okay, yes. So, and I'll just kind of start that off with like, I left Disney in March of 2015 to move to Northwest Arkansas. I kind of had just had my fill of Los Angeles. I think if you did interview my mom and you asked her about David's time in Los Angeles, she would say he called me about 6 months after being there and said he'd only be there for 2 years. And so even like 5 years in, I started it like, it was kind of just not like my long-term home. And I knew it, you know, I was like, I'm going to come out here, do the best I can, get the experience I need, and then move, you know, kind of closer to the home. Or I actually didn't know that necessarily at the time. But anyway, you know, I got a job at Sony, which was huge, Polar Express. So then I was kind of in the mix. And 6 years into that, I started looking at places to go. And Sony had kind of a downturn at the moment. And they were letting some artists go. Actually, they let a lot of people go. I was in that mix. They actually brought recruiters from all the studios onto campus, like on the campus. I was interviewing for Disney, actually at Sony.
Wow.
Which is really great of them.
Yeah.
And that's when I got the offer to work on Tangled.
Okay.
It's actually a really funny story because I've been doing hair and cloth simulation for about 5 years at Sony. And I was just like so done with hair. And I was like, I want to do something different. And I got hired for the look development team, which is textures and materials. But also that team was a part of the hair team of creation, the hair creation, not the simulation. So it was really interesting how I was really trying to get out of hair. And I got hired to work on the biggest hair movie.
Yeah, like one of the biggest things about that is hair.
Oh, it's the number one thing. And so, but I ended up doing some hair simulation there. It was really interesting. I got on to Tangled, worked on the team and on look development and I did the little drunk thug Cupid character, like the textures and material in his beard and his like wooden wings and stuff. And it's just fun, super fun character. That was my first character. And did that for like 6-8 months. And then I got, you know, basically a notice like, hey, we don't have any work right now. We'd love to bring you, did awesome. We'd love to bring you back, but we just have a lull. So we're going to have to let you go. I was like, man, I just got here.
Yeah.
And I had met the person who ran the simulation team, this guy named Shinman, who was just awesome guy, and saw him in getting lunch one day and just sat down with him and was like, hey, do you need help on the hair team? And he was like, yes, we need so much help. Would you come over to our team? So, and I was like, hey, I'll just help out, you know, because I didn't know their simulation pipeline. And I was like, I'll just do, you know, whatever can help, you know, get the shots through the pipeline. And I was very fortunate. I picked it up and ended up doing some of the bigger hair movie shots for that movie, like Rapunzel running out and turning around and stepping over her hair in the field. And like just did some really cool, pretty big shots for that movie. So I got to learn that whole hair system, which was really cool. And then when it finished, basically Wreck-It Ralph was kicking gear in look development. I got to move right back into look development and get to stick around and stay at Disney for 6 years. So that was cool. So anyway, all that's to say is that 15 years passed about, and I just was not, I was ready to leave Los Angeles and sort of kind of go, you know, I was in my mid-30s, 36 or 7 at the time, and I was kind of looking for my roots home, you know, where am I going to, and I moved to Northwest Arkansas, my parents went to the University of Arkansas. My dad actually played football for Arkansas in years past, and probably one of the biggest football games ever to people that like football out there. He played in the '69 Arkansas-Texas game, which is called the shootout. President Nixon landed on a helicopter in the side of the field and went into the game. So it was a pretty big deal.
Wow.
So the University of Arkansas was kind of on my radar, but not totally. I didn't spend much time in Northwest Arkansas, but had some friends who were there, and I went and visited, had like a great time. I was like, wow, I think I could live here. So I just kind of up and left, like packed up, told Disney that I'm leaving, and I left. So it's just pretty wild. And I moved to Northwest Arkansas, and like I said earlier, that the goal was to create a school to teach animation on multiple levels, from kids all the way to adults. But the vision was to tell kids, hey, it doesn't matter that you're born in small town Arkansas, that you can go and work on a major project. So started working on that, and there was a woman named Sonia Gutierrez there that had a small art school called New Design School, and it was teaching mostly graphic design and a small number of students, and she was trying to get it off the ground. So I started talking with her. Instead of completely creating something new, I was like, well, I'll try to bolt some animation onto this school. And so I started working on that, just donating my time and kind of using my own money to get it off the ground. And it morphed into this idea of this sort of kids, teens, adults tech art school, like a digital art school for digital art school, basically. Yeah. So it was the crossroads of art and technology is what we talked about a lot. And it was and there was a guy there named Brad Harvey who'd started a kids camp thing called Nerdies, and he was looking for somebody to help out with it. So I just was, hey, you want to donate it to us? We were a nonprofit. I was like, well, you can donate it to us, and we'll take it over, and we'll bring you on for doing some work for us. And so it became under my control, and it was incredible. We did 7 camps like during the summer, not 7 weeks of camp. There were probably 40 to 50 camp styles, which could be video game development to movie making to animation to coding to robotics to comic book camp. I mean, it was probably my favorite thing that I did there, but it ran I was like by the end of the summer, I was just didn't have anything left. And
sure.
So I was, at the same time, I went to the middle school basically levels in high schools, and started talking about this teen program where the Nerdies was 9 to 15-year-olds, and these kids could kind of advance from there into a school program that was at their school. So we were going in trying to create programs, and we partnered with the Arkansas Arts Academy in downtown Rogers and the Ignite program and some other programs around Northwest Arkansas to implement digital art classes there. Wow. So it was growing, and at the same time we were not really the adult, post-secondary stuff was sort of, it was what Sonia had originally started. She had some graphic design, and I was really working on building this sort of foundation to grow this pathway where, I could work with a kid from 9 years old till they graduated high school in digital arts. Like, to me, that was going to be as close as I could to guaranteeing they'd be really talented artists and really talented digitally skilled, ready for the workforce. So Nerdies was that part. Then there was an embedded program. And through all of that, Sonia and Brad decided to move on and do some other things, and the school became mine as the board voted me, the executive director, and to work on it. And at that time, I decided to rebrand it to a school called Pixel, a school for digital arts. And I had started building that and was growing it, and that was about 6 years that I had worked on it, and it was just growing, and it was a nonprofit, and I was trying to raise money, and I was hit or miss good at that. I may be good at making some movies, but maybe hit or miss it good at raising money. And then COVID hit.
Oh.
And I needed to get a real job again. I had put a lot of my own money into it, and I just needed to take a break.
Yeah.
And I sent a text message out to like 3 friends that I know real well and said, "Put me back in, coach." And one of them was like, "Are you serious? How serious are you?" And I said, "I'm looking at all possibilities." And when they said that I could work on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I couldn't turn it down, but I had to move to Vancouver, Canada. So that was a big deal. I left Rogers, Arkansas, moved to Canada to work on that project, kind of with an open mind about what might be there. And Vancouver is just an incredible place.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. But I just kind of missed it down here, and just needed to come back, and so made my way back. So that's sort of the story of Northwest Arkansas and the school. And
Sure.
And then I've Pixel is still something that exists and may revive it, but I sort of had the entrepreneurial bug for kind of, I guess, a little bit of my life. It sort of always felt like it was there, and I am pretty avid golfer, kind of a fanatic golfer since I was a kid, hitting golf balls in the yard. And I had an idea. I was playing golf with a friend of mine in like 2001, and we were having a good old time, and he rolls up in the golf cart and he says, "How far are you?" And at that time, the thick redneck accent was still there. And I said, "I'm 100 out." And we were like, "Oh, we should start a golf brand called 100 Out." And about a year ago, I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start that, and I'm going to work on it. And it's kind of the idea is to invoke that energy that you have if you're a golfer. When you're around 100 out, you're expecting to hit a good shot. Inevitably, we don't always, and there's a lot of jokes about that, but you kind of think, this is the distance that I can hit it pretty close, and I'm got some excitement and some energy around that. So we're building a brand around that, and then we're adding a technology piece, which is an app, and where you can do GPS scorekeeping, or GPS yardage and scorekeeping, and then we're putting in all this fun betting with your friends. Golfers bet money, but you can also bet lots of other different things. You can bet push-ups, you can bet running around the green.
I love that.
So it's kind of this app that allows you to really engage with your friends on the golf course and like get a lot of like back and forth and a lot of fun there outside of the battle that it is to just shoot a good score on a golf course. So, so it's a kind of an encompassing lifestyle brand meets technology. So we're about a year in. The app's, I would say, close to version 1 that we'll release out to the public here maybe in this fall sometime would be awesome. So I'm designing the UI and the UX. I have a couple programmers. Actually, good story. The 2 programmers doing the app were one of them was actually we had a camp called modding for Minecraft. So it was like taking the Minecraft game and doing modifications to it. And he was a University of Arkansas computer science major at the time, and he taught the modding for Minecraft camp. And I ran into him one time when I was in Fayetteville and asked him what he was doing. And he said, "I have an app company." And I was like, "Well, I need an app." And so now those two, him and a partner, are building the 100 Out app. So
cool.
Yeah, so it's really fun. We're working on lots of different types of challenges in golf, just different things that you can do. Golf is an expanding, growing sport. And also I loved working on all the movies and would totally Like when I moved back to Missouri, I moved to Dreamworks, and I got on Trolls Band Together and Kung Fu Panda 4 for a short stint in their simulation team. And then they also slowed down on work and let a lot of people go. So I kind of had to like reimagine a little bit what I'm doing from freelance creative direction and animated I do like a lot of animated renderings of products. And then the focus really is the 100 Out brand and app and building the UI and the UX and stuff. So that's sort of where I'm spending all my time now.
Yeah. Fascinating though.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So if my dad's a golfer and I know other golfers, for anyone who's a golfer out there, how can they watch for when 100 Out comes out and make the splash?
Well, very easy to just follow our Instagram, 100 Out. There's 100out.com, which you can read all about the plans for the brand, which are a lot of different directions. We're focused on the app and the technology at the moment. There's also 100 Out on TikTok that you can check out there for fun. There's a 100 Out Facebook page. So that's probably the easiest. Everything will go to Instagram when we're releasing as we're getting closer. That's going to be the best way. The website does have an email sign up newsletter that you can get on your email list. If you are someone, we don't send a lot currently because the app is in such development right now. I'm not trying to spam people with things they can't use right away. So, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be really, really cool. And we're really excited about it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see where that goes.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting because we talked about it today. I'm actually getting to add some animation style things into the app where when you do certain things, certain animated stuff happens. And so I'm going to get to kind of get back into that a little. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Please tell me at some point the character from Tangled will come back. The Cupid guy will come out and just like shoot a few things.
If it didn't cost us about $2 or $3 million to get the rights to it, then I totally would. I'll call up some of my friends over there to see if they'll just let me use it, but probably not.
You don't want the fallout from that.
Tangled, yeah. Rapunzel pops out there and grabs her hair and spins it into a golf club and hits a ball.
Actually, yeah, you could take a lot of characters that are similar to that and do. Sorry, Trey.
No, we were going with the same place.
Like, it doesn't have to be the Disney version. It could just be because Rapunzel is of course,
This is true. I
mean, it's out there. It's probably some level of public domain at this point.
Yes, that's probably true. I'll have to think about that. At this point, I'm like, just get a notification to send to the other phone, please.
I'm sure that the development process is notorious for testing and doing lots of those things, but like it's so cool that you're putting that out there and you're putting your passion into something and taking a skill set from a related field into this and really fueling that passion that you've got. So that is super cool.
I appreciate that a lot because it is truly that. It really is. And I loved, and I also just sitting at the computer for 40 to 60 hours a day, like my eyes and my wrists, and I'm 47 now, and like it's really starting to, you sit that many hours as a little bit older gentleman, it starts to, I'm just trying to set up another phase, another chapter for me to be able to get outside and walk around. And it's just absolutely horrible that I have to go play golf and test the app out.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
I feel for you.
Yeah, but it was very intentional.
I love. Oh, Trey, what can we do? I like this.
Oh no, I have to sit home and sew costumes. Oh no.
I was thinking, oh no, I have to go try all of the coffee shops in Paris.
Right? You have to write a book on Paris coffee shops.
I know, right? I don't even like coffee, but we're doing it.
So decaf for you.
Tea for me. Yeah.
Tea for you.
My sister calls it non-decaf.
Tea?
No, coffee. Oh. Like caffeinated coffee is non-decaf.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm so used to saying it. When you said decaf, I wanted to correct you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. I probably should have decaf at this point.
I am a decaf. But I have one-ish cup of calf, and then I just absolutely love the coffee bean, everything, the smell, the taste, everything. So I'll have like way too many cups of decaf after that. So.
Yeah.
But you don't really get like the jitters and stuff from decaf.
No, I don't want those.
Yeah.
No. I get those really bad when I over caffeinate myself, and I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna jump out of my skin, and I'm like, I hate this. Absolutely hate this.
Relatable.
The first time that I had a truly caffeinated beverage, I walked into a Starbucks at 7 a.m. with like bags under my eyes and said, I need something with like tons of coffee in it, but I don't like coffee. What do you recommend?
Okay.
So they made me a Frappuccino with 2 scoops of like ground espresso mixed in with it. So the sugar from the drink would come through much more than the coffee did. 3 hours later, I was seeing sounds and hearing colors.
They know how to hook you up.
They knew, and everybody in the office that day was like, Trey, are you okay?
You're like,
blink twice if you need medical assistance.
Wow. Yeah, I can feel very uncomfortable and I don't understand how the people drink the stuff that is out there right now. The drinks that have like, I don't know, 2,000 milligrams of caffeine or something. I'm like, what?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, maybe there is not one with 2,000. I feel like when you look at them, it just has 10 to 2,000, but maybe it doesn't. It's like Monster Extreme.
Right.
Like,
yeah, like
jump
we
out of your
that.
skin 9 times. You know?
Who needs Monster Extreme? Right? Like Monster's bad enough.
Who needs to have a working central nervous system? It's fine.
Right. So.
Well, we can keep going.
This is how we do.
But I have 2 last questions for you. The first of which, if you were to be able to sit down with anybody, just one person, and have lunch with them to pick their brain, who would it be and why?
Alive or dead?
Leonardo da Vinci, for sure.
Okay.
Wonderful choice.
100%. I mean, just from a scientist to an artist to just, I think it would be the coolest experience ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can only just, I mean, it just saying his name explains it enough, right? Like I could explain because I would just like ask a million questions and just try to learn as much as I could. And yeah, to be in that shadow would have been so cool.
Yeah.
That is a great choice. Well, we've had some really good answers to these questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get this. We get this one. I mean, not that we haven't gotten the others, but this one, yeah. Even if you didn't explain.
I'm not original with Leonardo da Vinci.
No. The other question is, we want to make sure that our listening audience can stay in touch with you and the things that you do.
And support you, yeah.
Yeah.
You've mentioned 100 Out, but where can our listening audience go to follow your personal pages?
Yeah, so that's David W. Kersey, which is the Instagram page. My LinkedIn page, you just search me. My website is davidkersey.com, which is pretty easy. And my email is david@davidkersey.com. And then I'm on Facebook. I don't check it all the time, but email is probably the best way or to contact me if anybody's interested in asking questions. I'm very open to talk to people. I've spoken at many schools. I'm doing freelance creative work too, so open to people that need help from small animation projects through basic branding and website building. So like I'm getting into the UI UX design now though. So I'm like, anyone out there needs an app design? I'm really liking Figma. It's really fun.
Fascinating.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
I might even, maybe we need a modern romantic app. Trey?
Yeah, maybe
okay.
you do.
Yeah.
I definitely can project manage that and do some UI UX. So, and speak to the developers because I can talk the language a little bit, but I cannot code very well.
Yeah, I'm not a coder myself.
Yeah.
Same.
Not since the Commodore VIC-20.
Which was cool.
It was cool, yeah.
Was totally cool. I have jumped in and out of trying to learn to code, and I have learned bits and pieces that matter for what I needed to use them for, and I can edit code and change things to get it to do what I want. But to build it from the ground up I need more learning time for that, and I think I'm focusing solely on being basically at this point I'm the CEO, the marketing director, the social media presence, the app developer. I'm wearing all that. I have a partner who is a lawyer and a very good person to bounce the ideas off, and we talk about it weekly and move it forwards. But I'm kind of the boots on the ground at the moment for 100 Out.
Yeah. Lots of hats, like you said.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun, though. I'm really enjoying it.
It sounds like it. You speak with a lot of passion about it, so I'm excited to see the app come out. I know a lot of golfers who are going to be very excited to have that.
Cool.
So I can't wait to share this with them.
Yes.
Look for David out on your local golf course testing it.
That's right. That's right. I'll be there, and I promise I will actually ask you to download it.
Well, David, thank you so much for spending time with us today. You are a delight, and thank you so much for sharing your artistry with us.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
As we close this episode out, this episode, along with probably every other episode, will be dedicated to Joe Capone, our moderator, fellow comedian, passionate encourager, and greatly missed friend. You can find us pretty much wherever you tune into podcasts. For updates, announcements, and more, follow us on social media under Modern Romantic. Thanks, everybody, and remember, treat every day like you are standing 100 out. Thank you.
So close. You would have nailed it. You would have nailed it.
I would have gotten that.
Just say it one more time. Just
okay.
For posterity.
Remember to treat every day like you are standing 100 out. Bye, everybody.
Well done.